Hey, listen. I vividly remember trying to, because we went to different high schools, so I wanted to, hang out on the weekends. And I'm telling y'all
Right,
the
you're not
truth.
at
This is
school
exactly
together.
what happens. We go out one weekend. I try to take her out the next weekend. Her mom was like, no, you already went out. And I'm like, that was a whole 7 days ago. There's a whole new
You're
interval.
like,
Well, if you want to see her, you can come to church, right? And I'm like, Tuesday? Tuesday and Wednesday?
yeah.
And Sunday?
That's how my mom was. She was hard. She was like, so Felicia tells me you're her boo. And Karega's like, yes, ma'am, or whatever.
I answer with the affirmative. By the
And
way,
after that, she accepted it.
plus me and your mom have a beautiful bond.
Oh, yeah, y'all tight.
That's my friend. That's my dad. That's my mama. So we tight.
We maintained our relationship his first year at Hampton and my senior year. And he came back for my senior prom, actually.
Yes, I did.
And I'll never forget that.
And that was actually a big moment, too, in terms of, like, new relationships, young relationships, they grow in increments. It's kind of like this, you get a bonus in time or time together if you can be present. So being able to get back in time for her prom was really important, right? Because it shows this dedication, interest, and investment, and that whatever I got going on in college isn't more important than this day for you. And I feel like that was an additional reminder that we were going to have a chance to grow together. Because when you're young, you just can't tell for sure.
Yeah. So he asked me to marry him in 2010. And it was actually July 28th, 2010. And
she's so tight.
I remember this because we were on our way from D.C. to Sacramento for his brother's wedding. And it was this big thing because when we landed, we were supposed to be landing into the rehearsal dinner. And we're running to this flight. And Karega stops. And he's like, I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, why now? I'm leaving you. Forget it. Like, this, you're just going to get left today. And so I'm like, Karega, just come with me. He's like, no, I have to go to the bathroom. He's firm. So I'm like, all right, cool. You're on your own. I get on the flight. We can't sit next to each other. This is a Southwest flight, so you select your seats. So we can't sit next to each other, but I was able to find 2 aisles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting there. Thank God, Karega makes it. He sits down next to me, 2 aisle seats. And we take off, and everything's all good. Karega is singing John Legend so high. He just won't stop singing it. I look over to him, and I ask him, I say, hey, can you stop? It's not courteous of the other people on the flight.
And I'm going to do it just for her. Baby, since the day you came into my life.
So, you see what I'm saying?
Realize
and it's like,
that we were born to fly.
Could you stop, please?
Sure.
Like on the plane.
Through possibility.
And we're not exactly next to each other. Remember, I told you it's aisle.
Yeah, so I'm definitely singing across the aisle.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, thank you.
Fantasy, love it really means.
Thank you, babe.
So let's go. That was a joint. That was a slapper.
And he keeps singing it. He doesn't. Anytime I request something like that of him, he's not going to honor my request. It's complicated. But either way, the fasten your seatbelt light comes on, and Karega gets up. I got to go to the bathroom, he says. I said, would you please just sit down? Like, why do you have to do this? So he gets up, he runs to the front. I'm like, whatever, I'm not even paying attention. I'm reading my Essence magazine. And then I hear the boom, and they're like, Felicia, can you come to the front, please? And I'm like, what the hell did he do? We are in the air. Why are they calling me for this man into the front? So I go to the front, and the flight attendant's looking at me, and then I see Karega, and he's like kind of smiling. I'm like, what you doing? Like, what's going on? And then the flight attendant takes the intercom and puts it over his mouth. And he starts talking to me about how we've never held each other back, how we keep each other moving forward. And I don't remember everything because I'm starting to realize, oh, this is happening right now on the plane. And he gets down on one knee and he grabs my head. It's like this little shake. And so I was like, oh, he's serious. And pulls out the ring and asks me to marry him in front of everybody. And of course I say yes. And then the whole plane cheers and applauding us. Everybody wants to see the ring, so I'm showing everybody the ring, and I just cried and sat down, and I was so excited. I'm like, Karega, did you tell my mom? Did you ask my dad? Did you tell the family? He was like, no, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll tell him, it's no biggie. We'll tell him today. So my dad is supposed to be picking us up from the airport, so I'm calling, and I'm like, Daddy, we're here. He's like, okay, I'm down here. I'm like, okay, I'm getting Karega. I'm like, Rega, we have to go. And he's like, no, let's just walk this way. So we walk out the side of the airport, and there's a limo. And I was like, oh, we got a limo too? So we get in the limo. The photographer is with us. She's taking our pictures. And I called my dad, and I'm like, Dad, well, Karega got us a limo, so I'm sorry, I'm totally oblivious to what's happening. I don't know why I didn't put it together. And we're going to the rehearsal dinner, right? Like, this is my thinking. And we get there, and we walk into the rehearsal dinner, and it's my surprise engagement party. And my whole family was there,
And I asked everybody, and I got the blessing.
Yeah.
My dad was there. Daddy, I talked to her mama. I talked to everybody.
Everybody knew.
I guess she didn't know.
I didn't put it together, but yeah. So we got married.
And the reason why I had to keep using the bathroom was because Felicia always knows how my bags are packed. So I had to hide the ring. So the ring was hidden in my carry-on, and I had to get it out in time to have it in my pocket to propose. So that's why I didn't really have to use the bathroom. I had to get the ring. Context.
Yeah. So July 1st, 2012 is when we got married in Alberta, California, in my aunt's backyard. That's when we said, all right, dudes.
Fee and I, we've known each other so long and grown up together. We've done our fair share of partying together. So our love is definitely a celebration. And we knew that we wanted to do it. And having her aunt's backyard just gave us the freedom to celebrate more.
Yeah,
so we did all the formal things for our elders and distinguished guests. But you're talking about a couple who've been together since high school. So think about the friends that we have, right? And then we went to Hampton together. So think about our friends.
We had high school there, college there, and grad school there.
Came to Sacramento. They have never been before.
It was like 300 people in that backyard. It was a lot of people, but it was a whole lot of fun. And then we jumped on a trampoline. I got on a trampoline in my wedding dress. Had no business doing that. Turned into a disaster. And, it was a man-down situation. The whole bridal party got in. It was
everybody was on the trampoline, and I remember I want to get off first. I don't want to do this anymore.
And there's this picture of Karega struggling
I'm trying to get off, but you know how hard it is to get off a trampoline when people are jumping because then it goes down. So I'm trying, and then we have this one picture of my older brother like this in the air, and all you see is his locks in the air, and it looks like he's just doing about to fly through the air. I don't know if he's about to kick me or whatever, but he looks like a ninja in the air, and I'm literally trying to get off. Yeah. We
didn't try to have children anytime before this, and it was always this when is the right time, I'm like, well, we need our own house. We need to have it like this. I want it like this. I want it like that. And I remember we were having a conversation with one of Karega's friends, and he was telling us it's never going to be the right time, it's just the time. And I remember having that conversation with him, and it stuck with me, and I was like, yo, he's right. Now, he said it more profound. But in a nutshell, it was just, you're focused on the wrong things because you'll always be able to focus on something. There will always be something that you feel is necessary for you to have this child. So I found out actually the same day we were doing a healing circle for the mothers in Oakland, our Oakland one, that I was pregnant. So I told my mother and my best friend at the time, and my best friend, not at the time, she's still my best friend, but that day, and she tells me, oh, Fee, you gotta wait till Rega's birthday to tell him. I'm like, what? So this is I think the 18th of January.
When you find out.
And his birthday is the 26th. I'm like, bruh, I can't hold that secret that long. She's like, Fee, you gotta do this. So I ended up doing it. I had a friend make a button because I got Karega a pin, like a pin on the shirt. I got Karega 2 jackets for his birthday, and the button says "Baby Daddy" on it. So I thought it was funny. Right? I put the "Baby Daddy" button on the jacket, and he opens. Well, that morning, Karega's like, "Oh, let's go do some sprints," and I was like, "Ooh, I can't do my sprints today, so I gotta tell him right now." So I get him his jacket, and he opens it, and he's like, "Oh, it's nice. It's a birthday button." And I'm like, "No, read it." It's like, "Baby Daddy, who made this?"
Legit, my first question is, I didn't recognize the handwriting.
So it wasn't my handwriting.
And that wasn't something she called me, so I'm like,
I thought it was funny.
did somebody accidentally put this in the bag? Because I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah. So we had to wrestle with the reality that what I was trying to tell him is that he's about to be a father. And I was like a little disappointed that he wasn't, first of all, excited like I thought he would be. He didn't get it. Then we had a powwow outside. We're sitting on the bench. And then finally, like, we get into the excitement of it. And I remember feeling like, all right, cool. Like, now I can really have joy about this. Because prior to that, I was sensitive to the information. I have friends that have had miscarriages. And so I knew that at any point, things can change. So in my mind, I was like, okay, seeing his joy, I finally was like able to release. And I'm like, wow, like somebody's excited about this. He's excited about it. I had so much joy.
I was always happy.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as I understood what the button meant. I didn't recognize the handwriting. How long have we been together? Exactly. So at this point, we've been together forever. I know her penmanship. I know everything about her crafts. So I'm looking at
15 years.
At 15 years, I'm looking at this handwriting that I don't recognize and a name she's never called me. So I'm thinking to myself, like, did you recycle a gift bag? Right? Like, this is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to make sense of it.
I thought it was a great idea.
Nonetheless,
hilarious.
Literally, like, joy, elation. So here we are on this journey.
And I'm telling you, I had the bomb pregnancy. I was never sick. I think I was tired 1 week, the 6th week. And after that, it was like just joy, just pure joy. And
so much joy.
We traveled, we did we did a New York trip, we did a DC trip. Mm-hmm. And we performed. I had an opportunity to perform with her. We recorded with her. Everyone was so excited for us. We had so much support, so much love. It was like everybody's like, finally, waiting so long. And so we're like, oh my gosh, we're doing this, And yeah, we go on, and I carried for 41 weeks to the day. I worked out during my pregnancy, no issues. All the way, I actually ran a mile at 39 weeks and was fine. Everything was going good. My baby had a very strong heartbeat all the way through. And went into labor and strong heart rate in labor. And yeah. Everything was fine, and then it changed. Everything was fine, and then it changed. My heart rate dropped. And so no biggie for me at the time. I was like, okay, it's just not going the way I thought it would go, but everything will be fine, And we're in the hospital, and they see the heartbeat, so they're like, okay, we'll do this emergency cesarean. And I remember looking at Karega, and he had this look of worry. And I was like, no, it's good. Like, we're going to be fine. And I was sure, actually, not a shadow of a doubt.
Can I correct you really quickly?
Sure.
At that point, I still wasn't worried. It was outside of the birth plan. So This was the first time we were going to be separated. I wasn't concerned about her health or baby's health. It was the idea that now we're not together because everything about our birth plan had us together the entire time. So I wasn't worried in that regard. It was like, where are y'all going? But I still, when Felicia said, we're good, her and I have been making eye contact for years, and we just made direct eye contact, and I knew that they were going to be good. I just wanted to know that she was okay with me not being able to go back there. So when she said she was okay, that I was okay.
Yeah.
So they, and mind you, we went to a hospital not 2 minutes from here. I mean, it was just the most ideal set of circumstances. So they,
Yeah, so they roll me back, and with the emergency, you go under anesthesia. And so I said, like, my last prayer, you know? And I woke up to Riga telling me she didn't make it. And I don't know why.
the, I remember being in the hospital with our mothers. I also remember, and I have footage of them praying the night before. They just prayed together all the time. You can't stop those two from praying. We all go to the hospital, and I'm outside with the mothers. And I hear a few codes that I don't know what they mean, but just investigating, I kind of get as close as I can. I walk down to a further counter so they don't know that I'm associated with this birth, to try to ask them what that code means. Because the only thing I didn't know was how long a C-section should take. We did all of our birth classes together. We had a great time. Laughed at almost all of them, paid attention, got everything we needed. We just had so much fun in the pregnancy. Our pregnancy was so much fun, so much joy. We were so close. We learned new ways of intimacy. We learned about quality time in a different way. So when I'm hearing this code go off, I'm like, okay, who's that for? What's that about? And the doctor comes out and tells me, am I the father? And I say, yeah. And he asks to speak to me. I stand, and he tells me there was nothing, they've done everything they can, and that my baby didn't make it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, nah. Because I did not have a fear. We had an outstanding pregnancy, and according to health, we had the most amazing medical team. And we had waited so long to experience the joy. And not even like waited, just, like you wait your turn, like in life, you just wait your turn. So we had all of these circumstances leaning in our favor. So when they tell me they didn't get it, she didn't make it, it was, I had a hard time wrapping my brain to be present in the moment, because I immediately thought about Felicia. They roll Felicia out from the operating room. And I told you I know Felicia very well because of our years of eye contact, and I can tell that her eyes aren't present with me the way I know they to be. And I didn't realize how severe the anesthesia was. But cognitively, she couldn't process any of what just took place. So she didn't know Kamaiu didn't make it. And I had to be the one to tell her. And I worked up my finest of words and my courage, and just as gentle as I can be, to tell her, Kamaiu didn't make it. And I saw her not understand me, and my heart dropped again. I said, oh, this is about to be a long day. After the nights of labor, she was delivered at 6:19 a.m. So just think about what it means to be in labor through the night at 6:19 delivery. So still dark. And so it just feels like the longest day ever. And for Felicia not to understand me, I just knew how hard it was about to be. Because she's sharp. I've only known her to be sharp. She's astute. She's always on point. And the anesthesia is a hard one to work through, her body and her mind. weren't present with her the way she knows them to be. So I had to tell her again, because all she's doing is asking for her baby. Our baby.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. I have few memories because anesthesia takes away your memory a little bit. So, like my first moments with her, I've seen pictures, but I don't remember. And because of the C-section, like, I couldn't hold her the way I wanted to. I only had this arm. So I didn't have that arm. And
Because the IV.
I just remember, like, you process so much after a loss like this, you know? I didn't have a doubt. I didn't have a doubt.
Imagine not having a doubt, nor even having a chance to pray. You know, as faith-filled people, we didn't have a fight. There were no machines. There was no invitation for prayer. There was no way to even, like, to test the faith. I only got news that she didn't survive.
And it just, it's, you know, I was okay with the story not going the way that I thought it would go. My thinking was like, well, they gonna get her. And whatever could happen, like, she could be a NICU, but she's strong.
She was so strong.
She was strong. I had the most beautiful baby. Her name is Kamaiu, so
Kamaiu, so.
it means silent warrior, one who loves relentlessly.
We named her long before her birth and never spoke her name.
You know, we didn't tell anyone until she was born.
But we also had no need to say it to each other once we knew her name. It was just internal. But she was every bit of Kamaiu soul. She was every bit a silent warrior. She still loves relentlessly. One of the deepest challenges in that birth story was having to tell my wife that all the amazing work she did, our nutrition was as best as it's ever been. I mean, the home was just conducive to wellness. It was the best we'd ever done, happiest we've ever been. So to tell her that the outcome that we never even talked about and we never even imagined is now our reality. And then to have this person who I know to be so sharp, to not have that partner for hours until the anesthesia wears off. And then after the anesthesia is more pain medication in her body. But I also remember leaving the hospital with a box. A box of belongings. Not my baby. Not a car seat. Not her in my arms or in her mama's arms, a box. And it's so unique how I didn't feel like I fit in the world. It started that quick. Identity and permission to exist. Those questions start that quick. Do I belong here? Do I look awkward in the maternity ward without a baby? Do I look like I don't belong here? It's like you begin to understand how identity is formed as a parent, or what you think it's going to be. And you think it's going to be about having this baby with you and having this baby in your arms, and it speaks for you and it speaks for what your reality is. So to be planning on to be a parent that way and have to learn to be parents this way is one of the hardest learning curves ever, because we're still her parents. It's still our baby. But it's different than anything anybody coached us for or anybody even knows how to talk about. And I remember leaving the hospital with the box, and as I'm walking out, I got to go to the car to get it for Felicia. And I theorized that however I walk through this hallway, she's gonna have to walk in that same cloud, so I could either walk out in the cloud of shame or I can walk out like I'm the proudest man in the world because of what my wife has just done. I still walked out like I had the most amazing wife who did the most amazing thing. And I was still so very proud of how she carried and how she carried her reality. But I remember serving Felicia, being her help partner, being her husband was so important for me. And to show up for her every detail and to show up for her every need. Because she had just did the most amazing thing I'd ever seen done. And that is to rise from that.
So, that was September 30th, 2019. And so I had a baby, right? And my body delivered the baby and act accordingly as if I still had my child. So I had to heal the same way. So it was complicated processing for me to have had the child, but I don't get to hold the child. So we had family there who were able to like think ahead for us, and because you're not thinking like that. So my brother was like, you need a photographer to get somebody in here to take the pictures for the memories. And then my aunt is like, oh, we need to find a funeral home, or like contact the morgue, stuff like that you're not thinking about at all, and you don't want to think about that. So I say that to say we got pictures that very first day. Our friend who had documented us throughout the entire pregnancy came and took pictures of Kamaiu for us. When I'm preparing myself to leave, a woman from the morgue comes up and she's like, oh, you never signed your papers to go over to the funeral home. Do you want to see your baby? So I say, yeah. So she let us go down there and see her. Then as we're getting ready to plan the celebration service, they asked, oh, do you want to see her again? I'm like, yeah, I want to see her again. So I see her again. We had a viewing, and after that, I was like, okay, this is probably the last time. And then we got to see her again. And that was officially the last time.
Kamaiu was so celebrated, and folks have been experiencing grief in ways they didn't know how to verbalize. And we have been experiencing grief in ways that really words really fall short in the nuances and the description and the feelings and the scenarios, and when your brain just races ahead of you and it does what a brain does, and you don't realize that it's just your brain doing it until you go to a grief support group and you realize that all these brains are doing the same sets of logic and trying to investigate what happened and trying to find somebody to their self to blame, often coming to the realization that many folks around the world, in fact, have experienced grief and didn't know they were experiencing love. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what it is. It's just, it doesn't have a place for you to experience it, but it doesn't mean that you lose the love. You may have lost the place where you wanted to center that love, but you didn't lose the love. So in us learning that, we've been able to make room for love with one another. We really enjoy doing the work every day. We enjoy talking about our feelings with one another every day. We enjoy when we get in like a really good listening session to one another and we can hear each other say things that we may not be able to hear ourselves. And we get to present this learning to one another. That feels really good. Being intentional about Kamaiu feels really good. Going in her room feels really good.
Yeah.
Lighting her candle each night at dinner feels really good. We found an urn that shaped and it holds a candle, and we get to light her candle nightly, daily, or however often we want to. That helps us because she's in our world, and we speak of her every day, and she's present. And we are now getting stronger and getting the language. At first, we were really afraid to go out in public from just you don't know what it means to show up without your baby and what people will think. And I remember when we got the courage to go out and just how little and how delicate you feel when you're out in the world. It's scary. Even for a guy like me, it's scary going out in the world and having to agree to one another to make ourselves available to public and what that might come with. What does it mean to tell them, no, it's okay. You can bring her up. She's not a past thought.
Yeah. That's so important to me. I found out too, with the journey with this process. People, I've interacted with people who just don't know what to say, or think that avoidance is what I need, and I've found that no, you must bring her up, because I had her, and she was here.
She came here.
She came. And there are no words. You don't have to go within yourself to find an encouraging word for yourself. To me, I've learned that, but I've realized from that, right, that those people are grieving too. We put everything. Karega did a very good job documenting the pregnancy, and so a lot of people were kind of watching there. And then we have our loved ones and people who have known our story since high school up and until now. And so there was this anticipation, and all of those people are impacted. And so I'm realizing that in people who have witnessed this and have words to say, it's really just because they're grieving too. Yeah.
It was fascinating for me to have been doing this work with the mothers who have lost children to gun violence through the entire pregnancy. Right, Felicia was pregnant in almost all of those healing circles, and something that I've learned is that there is a gentleness that exists in the neonatal loss space that is not translated to mothers who lose children at other intersections of life. Mothers who lose children or adult children or teenagers, especially in gun violence, there isn't the same level of gentleness that the world has learned how or is willing to show in neonatal loss. But what I also found is that their wombs hurt in the same place. That place of emptiness inside of the woman after carrying that child, knowing that child by rhythm, by how many times you got to get up in the middle of the night. What that birth story is, they all remember that. And there was this pain that was described in the healing circles that we've come to learn that we feel the same way. Felicia feels the same way. So if the world has the capacity to offer this gentleness to Felicia and I'm hoping to build a bridge where we can learn that gentleness for all mothers who've experienced loss.
16 years together and 8 years married. What would be your vows if you said them today?
has come.
And land is down. And
Oh, I won't be afraid.
oh, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed a tear.
Just as long as you stand
Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand? I've come to understand my love and my dedication to Felicia as one of the greatest gifts that God could give me. Because he knows I'm stubborn in that way and I won't quit. I won't quit loving her. And I won't quit longing after Kamaiu. And if loving Felicia is my only way to experience Kamaiu in this world, then God has written a story that allows me to love her for forever many years. As many forevers as I can count. I'm no stranger to hard circumstances. But I've always thought my life was beautiful. It was never easy, but I always thought it was beautiful. Even in the simplicity. And yes, this loss is heartbreaking. So just snatching it, it's the coldest thing I've ever known in my life. But I now understand something about love that I couldn't have learned. I didn't understand how powerful, how pervasive it was, how much it could hold. I didn't understand how massive it was and what it has the potential to hold. We exist this way because of love. We really do. I can't believe what our reality is. But I'm so privileged to experience love this rich. We miss our baby. Imagine however long it takes me to love Felicia, to produce that feeling for Kamaiu to be in our world. That's a God-given sentence, and I'm gonna do it. Every single day I'm gonna do it. And I'm not gonna change nothing about it. I love you. Just stand.
I'm sorry. That's our song.
We, in the hospital, when Felicia went to the bathroom for the first time, I had to walk her from the bed to the bathroom, and we slow danced and sang that song as a way to get to the bathroom and not cry at just how our lives have just changed. I saw her see herself for the first time after giving birth. And I saw her do that with no baby as evidence for why your body just transformed this way. And because I seen her at that moment, loving her, I know the love she deserves. And the world doesn't know how to love like that yet. But I know the love she deserves, so I'm gonna do it.
Before we got married, everyone always says the same thing. Marriage is work. Nobody says what that work entails. No one will say what it means when they're saying it's hard. You love it, but it's hard. It's work. And I would always think, like, what is the work? Like, just give me an example. What is it?
It was about me, what I wanted and how it should be for me. And everything should kind of work in my favor. And then I got married, I found out, we got to make some compromises. We got to figure out how we work together.
And she's a mother, you know what I'm saying? And it's a lot. You just got people you know, trying to breastfeed. You got people trying to get your attention this way and this way. And then I'm coming over here like, you know what I'm saying? And it just is like, leave her alone, my guy. Let her, give her some space.
I'm not 24 years old. I'm not 27.
She ain't a late model car no more.
Do not make me slap you.
72 Cadillac. You know, you can't just get in and go. You got to warm it up.